I think it's safe to say that Steve Harrington is the crowd favorite character in Stranger Things, but I also think he's the best written character in Stranger Things too, because of the role he adopted in season 2 as the babysitter. Yes, this is a deeply comedic bit, and I remember watching season 2 for the first time, and this just kind of came out of left field, out of nowhere, and we were all flabbergasted, and we go, but it actually kind of works. And the reason why I think this works is because it's an evolution of a theme that was established in season 1 that continued throughout the rest of the show. And that theme is parenthood. There are parents everywhere in this show, and we get to see how they interact with each other, how they interact with their kids, how they interact with other people's kids. It was obvious that since day one, the Duffers wanted to make parenthood a centralized theme of this show. The premise is obviously that Will goes missing, and it sends Joyce into a spiral, and then she then goes and seeks help from her old friend Hopper to help recover her son. And as we know, Hopper used to be a father himself. He had a daughter who got sick and died young, which caused him to go into a depression spiral, which resulted in him getting divorced, becoming a substance abuser, living in a run-down trailer out in the middle of nowhere, and just kind of living an apathetic lifestyle, drifting through existence without any real motivation to do anything other than just get by. And I think this is where a really interesting missed opportunity resided. And that missed opportunity is with Lonnie Byers, Jonathan and Will's dad, who's written to be a completely emotionally and physically absent jerk of a father. When Will goes missing, he downplays it and he doesn't really seem all that interested. And then when it is confirmed that Will is dead, he shows up and tries to leverage it to make a quick buck. Now, the interesting thing is I actually really liked this guy's acting, and they wrote Lonnie to be just a one-dimensional jerk, but I really wanted to see this guy more and have an actual character arc. His acting gave me Dermot Mulroney vibes. And what I would have loved to have seen is him paired with Hopper. And the reason being that Hopper had a child. She died young against Hopper's will, and he was physically and emotionally present for all of it, and that sent him into a spiral. And Lonnie was emotionally and physically absent, and his son goes missing while he's not around, and he doesn't really seem to care. So I would love Lonnie to be partnered with him, and Hopper shows him the error of his ways, and he emotionally grows to realize what a gift it is to have children at all, and to see how Hopper is so mad and envious of Lonnie that he still has kids. Then I would like Lonnie to be with Joyce and Hopper at the end and go into the Upside Down to recover Will, but I would like something bad to happen. Maybe the Demogorgon shows up or something, and Lonnie has to sacrifice himself in order to save Will and let Hopper and Joyce get away, to show what it truly means to be a father. And I think this would work thematically well, because as we see that Hopper gets to become a dad again. He becomes an adoptive father. So whereas Lonnie chose to absolve his responsibility of being the actual father of his actual children, Hopper decides to choose to be responsible for a child that actually isn't his. Thematically, I think this would have been beautiful. And this is why Steve the Babysitter works so well. Sorry, I had to go the long way around for this one. But Steve wants to be a father, as we discover in later seasons, and that is why they pair him with Dustin. And this works doubly well because Dustin doesn't have a dad. They never explain why, but I like to think that Dustin's dad died young. And then inversely, Steve has parents, but they're emotionally absent from his life, and it's implied that Steve comes from money. So I like to think that whenever there was a problem, his parents just kind of threw money at it rather than being emotionally present parents, and that is what grooms him to be the jerk that we see in season 1. Now, the Duffers originally wrote this character just to be a jerk, but they liked Joe Keery's acting, so they decided to give him a redemption arc. And then I think this is why it works so well, because Steve wants to be the emotional father that Dustin physically never had. What a genius way to show a character development. And then, as we know, it's later declared that Steve wants 6 little nuggets so that he can put them all in the Winnebago and go travel the countryside of America. And he wants to have a family. He wants to become a parent himself. And then in the series finale, what we learned is that of all the adult children, I don't know what else to call them, Nancy, Jonathan, Robin, and Steve, he's the only townie in the group. All the others go off to college, whereas he stays back, becomes a sex ed teacher, coaches baseball, and is actively trying to find a woman that he can become a parent with. This was beautiful in my opinion. There's also an incredibly dark take on parenthood, whereas Hopper and Steve are actively choosing to assume the role of father for the benefit of somebody who needs that role model in their life. Dr. Brenner is actively turning children into orphans so that he can assume the role of father and exploit them for his own personal gain. What a dark, twisted approach to the theme of parenthood. Damn, but this is why Steve the Babysitter works so well. Now, I obviously didn't go over all of the parents and all of the children and all the other ways this theme is explored. I would be here all night if I were to do that. But I hope y'all found this interesting, and if you want me to make more content on a TV show or a movie, I absolutely love doing and talking about this stuff. So please leave a comment and tell me what you thought about this. Do you agree or disagree with me? And what do you hope I talk about more in the future? Otherwise, get to watching.